Stoic philosophy offers insightful musings that can significantly alter your perception of happiness. This video incorporates a collection of 10 particular thoughts that have had a profound impact on my personal journey to finding true contentment. Each idea discussed here represents a Stoic nugget of wisdom that has personally transformed my understanding and pursuit of happiness. Let's journey together through these empowering Stoic thoughts and see how they can potentially unlock the doors to your own joy and fulfillment. Number 1. You can't control events, only your reactions. One fundamental thought that has the potential to transform your perspective on happiness is acknowledging that you can't control events, only your reactions. This concept is not about developing an indifferent or passive attitude where one is completely detached from life's events, but rather a radical acceptance of things beyond our control. When we fully understand this, we start seeing things differently. Imagine you're stuck in a traffic jam, an event entirely out of your control. Most people might get upset or annoyed, but once you realize that there's nothing you can do about the traffic, you can refocus on what you can control, your reaction. You can choose to feel frustrated and let it ruin your day, or you can listen to your favorite music, catch up on some podcasts, or simply enjoy a moment of quiet in your busy day. It can be challenging because we often want things to follow our plan, and when they don't, we get upset. However, we fail to realize that these events don't cause suffering, our reactions do. Embracing this awareness that we have the power to control how we react can permeate all aspects of our lives and promote a greater sense of inner peace and happiness. This shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight. It's something that we need to practice daily. You are in control of your thoughts, emotions, and responses, and learning to manage them effectively can unlock true happiness. It's about building mental resilience and emotional strength to handle whatever life throws at you. This Stoic thought empowers us to take control of our inner world, even if the external environment is chaotic. Thus, the only power you need to work on mastering is your capacity to respond mindfully and productively to whatever comes at you. Number 2. Detach from your desire of preferred outcomes. Our desires often become the very chains that bind us to dissatisfaction. We constantly labor under the weight of our expectations and goals, especially when we crave certain outcomes and live in the illusion that achieving them is necessary for our happiness. The second Stoic thought speaks to this point and offers wisdom that can change our perspective. Detach from your desire of preferred outcomes. This doesn't mean we should abandon having goals or striving for success. However, the key lies in understanding that our happiness and peace of mind should not be dependent on those outcomes. When we accept this truth, the pressure of our expectations naturally eases. Imagine you're working on a crucial project at work. You've put your sweat, blood, and tears into it, hoping for a successful outcome. But it doesn't go as planned. If your happiness was reliant on this project's success, you'll likely spiral into frustration, disappointment, and self-doubt. But if you were detached from the outcome, you'll still feel the sting, but you'll bounce back faster because you understood that the outcome was not within your control. When we detach from outcomes, we experience freedom. We can enjoy our life journey with its ups and downs instead of feeling like a failure when things don't go our way. We become more accepting of life's unpredictability and recognize that our worth and happiness are not tied to outcomes. We are then able to respond better to life's challenges and disappointments, reducing our unnecessary emotional turmoil. Detaching from desired outcomes doesn't equate to not caring, but instead marks the understanding that we can't control everything, and that's perfectly okay. Number 3. Happiness comes from virtue, not external things. The belief that happiness comes from virtue, not external things, is a fundamental concept in Stoicism. This concept radically shifts emphasis from worldly possessions or accomplishments, assigning it to our inner moral character instead. Let's explore this better. In our daily lives, we often get caught up in the pursuit of external things that we believe will bring us happiness. It might be an expensive car, a sprawling mansion, or a successful career. But the thing is, these are all temporary and fleeting sources of happiness. They may give us fleeting joy, but long-term happiness cannot hinge on such transitory possessions or achievements. Why? Because they're beyond our control. Today you have them, tomorrow you may not. Stoic philosophy suggests that true enduring happiness can only come from within, from virtuous living. Virtue in the Stoic context is about having good moral character. It includes wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. For Stoics, living a virtuous life translates to living in accordance with nature and reason. It means making decisions that align with your core values, treating others with kindness, and displaying resilience in the face of adversity. The beauty of placing your happiness in virtue is that virtue is entirely within your control. You don't need to pin your happiness on the ups and downs of life. There's a certain liberation when we understand that true happiness isn't about getting what we desire, but about wanting what we already possess and making the most of it, by focusing on the one aspect we have complete control over, our virtue. Embrace this Stoic thought and you might find a life-enriching route to lasting happiness. Number 4. Don't seek respect, but embody self-respect. In the world today, many people find themselves on a continuous quest for external validation. This often translates to seeking respect from others, which can lead to living a life dictated by the opinions and perceptions of those around us. However, living by the principle of embodying self-respect, as opposed to seeking respect, can transform this. When individuals embody self-respect, they prioritize personal values, ethics, and morality above all else. They live their lives true to themselves, unswayed by societal pressures or opinions. They understand that their self-worth is not determined by what others think of them, but rather by how they perceive and respect themselves. By embodying self-respect, individuals intrinsically validate themselves. Respecting oneself promotes a sense of self-belief and self-confidence that is independent of external affirmation. This provides a stability that is by nature more constant than the ever-changing opinions of others. Ultimately, walking with self-respect is about celebrating your unique self and treating yourself with kindness and care. It means setting boundaries and knowing when to say no. It means honoring your emotions, understanding your desires and aspirations, and being brave enough to pursue them. In turn, embodying self-respect is likely to be reflected in the way one treats others. People often treat others in the way they treat themselves. Therefore, self-respect can foster an environment of mutual respect and understanding, as respect becomes a fundamental aspect of one's identity, rather than a status symbol to be achieved. This concept of self-respect aligns with the Stoic belief that real happiness comes from internal complexity, rather than external validation. It mirrors the idea of living a life led by virtue and personal values, rather than societal expectations and others' perceptions. When people stop chasing respect from others and start embodying it within themselves, they move closer to experiencing true contentment and fulfillment. Thus, it is important to focus on fostering self-respect rather than seeking external validation. This form of inner empowerment can profoundly shape our perception of ourselves and our interactions with the world around us. Number 5. Fear is a perception, not a reality. Fear is a perception and not a reality, and understanding this distinction can fundamentally alter the way you navigate life. Moreover, it can unlock a mindset of empowerment and control. Often our fears are not predicated on objective truths, but rather on the stories we tell ourselves. They are projections of possible outcomes that we've mentally constructed. Say, for instance, you fear public speaking. It isn't the act of speaking in front of a crowd that you fear, but the potential consequences. You might fear messing up and being judged, which brings future projection into the equation. It is these perceived future events, not the act of public speaking itself, that creates a fear within you. However, these are simply perceptions and not objective realities. The actual act of speaking or the audience's reactions are not within your direct control and do not necessarily lead to the dreaded outcomes. By recognizing this, you can put these fears into perspective. You may still feel anxious, but you can consciously decide not to let this fear dictate your choices. Understanding that fear is a perception and not a reality enables you to disconnect the emotions associated with fear from the actions you take. You can realize that even though you're scared, that doesn't need to prevent you from doing what scares you. This doesn't always mean the fear will disappear, but it loses some of its power over you. Your actions will be shaped less by fearful emotions and more by rationale and ambition. Meanwhile, remember that fear also serves a purpose. It is an essential mechanism for survival, prompting caution and alertness in potentially dangerous situations. But when fears are misplaced or overblown, they can restrict your growth and life experiences. Remember, fear is often born out of uncertainty and the unknown. By realizing that fear is a mere perception and not an absolute reality, we can challenge ourselves to move beyond our comfort zones and face what initially scares us, thereby amplifying personal growth and learning. Number 6. Obstacles are opportunities for growth and learning. Obstacles, rather than being something to dread or fear, can instead be viewed as opportunities for growth and learning. This concept has its roots in Stoicism, but it is also embraced in many modern philosophies and self-improvement practices. It champions the idea that challenges aren't just random bouts of difficulty to endure, but chances to improve ourselves and emerge stronger. We won't deny that facing an obstacle is initially uncomfortable. The instinctual reactions are frustration or anxiety, bemoaning the situation and wishing for an easier path. That's a very human response. But haven't we also felt at some point the immense satisfaction that comes after overcoming a difficulty? That's because underneath it all, we instinctively acknowledge the value that exists in facing and conquering challenges, as arduous as they might seem at the time. Imagine a life with absolutely no hurdles, no problems to solve, nothing to surpass. Sounds perfect on the surface, right? But it's through these challenges, these tests of our mettle, that we discover our interests, strengths, and areas for development. Overcoming a difficult thing we thought we couldn't not only boosts our self-confidence but broadens our perspective and understanding of the world and ourselves. Learning is always a process of trial and error. Think of how many times a child might fall when learning to walk. Despite the countless tumbles, they keep getting up and trying again until one day they are running around without a second thought. Similarly, life's obstacles are our falls. They slow us down, bruise us a bit, but eventually they teach and train us to walk in the world with confidence. So the next time you encounter a hurdle, instead of seeing it as a setback, remember that it is in fact an opportunity waiting to be seized. Embrace it, learn from it, and allow it to propel you towards growth you never knew possible. Number 7. Death is a natural part of life. Discussing death often stirs discomfort. It is, after all, the great unknown, and it's natural for humans to fear what they don't understand. However, embracing the Stoic perspective can help shift this viewpoint. Stoics believe that death is a natural part of life, and rejecting or fearing it leads to unnecessary suffering and anxiety. To truly harness our capacity for joy and contentment, we must accept death as an inevitable conclusion to our journeys. Instead of fearing the end, Stoics advise focusing on the journey itself, making each day count, honing our virtues, and engaging with life fully. Resisting death is like trying to hold back the tide. It's futile and only leads to frustration. By understanding that every life, including our own, has an expiration date, we can live more fully in the present moment. This conscious awareness should not bring fear, but rather motivate us to live with intention and not waste our finite time here on earth. Acknowledging death's inevitability also fosters gratitude by reminding us how precious and fleeting life is. Living with an awareness of our mortality encourages a deeper appreciation for each moment and emphasizes the importance of living a meaningful and virtuous life. Moreover, accepting death as a part of life also promotes resilience and courage. Just as nature cycles through seasons, so do our lives. Understanding this equips us to handle adversity, loss, or change more confidently, making us mentally stronger and more resilient. To summarize, accepting death as a natural part of life, rather than fearing it, allows us to live more fully, appreciate our experiences more deeply, and strengthens our resilience against adversity, all keys to unlocking true happiness. Number 8. Do what's right, not what's easy. Do what's right, not what's easy, is a powerful concept that is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. It challenges us to make decisions based on integrity and virtue, as opposed to convenience or the path of least resistance. Often we are tempted to take the easy route, to avoid pain, discomfort, or confrontation. Yet in doing so, we can compromise our values and our personal growth. The Stoics believed this principle was the key to maintaining inner peace and stability, regardless of external circumstances. The easy path might seem pleasant and stress-free in the short term, but it does not lead to lasting happiness or personal fulfillment. It can lead to stagnation, complacency, and regret, as we later realize that we've sidestepped opportunities for growth, learning, and development. On the other hand, the right path, although often more challenging, leads to personal development, self-respect, and ultimately, a more fulfilling life. It requires courage, self-discipline, and determination to do what's right, especially when it's not easy. It means standing up for justice, fairness, and honesty, even when it's unpopular or uncomfortable. To do what is right presupposes a deep understanding of our core values, what we believe in, and what we consider to be fundamentally important in life. While taking the easy route can sometimes be tempting, we should remember that it is through courage, determination, and unwavering commitment to our principles that we grow as individuals, build character, and cultivate inner peace and stability. The easy path often turns out to be a dead end. Ultimately, it is by doing what's right, not what's easy, that we unlock a truly meaningful and fulfilling life. Number 9. Resilience flourishes when you accept imperfections. In considering the idea that resilience flourishes when you accept imperfections, one must first understand that everyone has imperfections. These can range from minor personal traits to major life events that didn't go as planned. The imperfections in our lives often cause stress and worry, leading many people to try and hide or erase them. However, from a Stoic perspective, these imperfections aren't necessarily problematic, but are opportunities for growth. There is an inherent strength that comes with embracing and accepting our flaws. It starts with acknowledging that you, like every other person, are not perfect. This acceptance is not a sign of weakness or giving up. Rather, it is a mark of understanding the nature of human existence. It takes a considerable amount of strength and bravery to face one's imperfections. This acceptance serves as the foundation for resilience. Resilience is essentially about enduring through difficult situations and bouncing back stronger than before. When we accept our imperfections, we build resilience by refusing to let these perceived weaknesses define us or defeat us. Instead, we view them as part of our overall personal growth journey. Embracing our flaws does not mean we stop striving for improvement. Rather, we learn from them and use these lessons to bolster us. We grow our resilience by understanding that our imperfections do not equate to failure, but they serve as stepping stones on our path to personal development. In essence, imperfections should not be disguised or disregarded. They should be faced head-on and accepted with grace and understanding. This approach, according to Stoic philosophy, leads to resilience, a quality that serves us well in different aspects of life, strengthening our character and enhancing our capacity to deal with whatever life throws our way. Number 10. Your free will is your greatest power. The concept of free will has always been at the center of philosophical debate, and its importance is also emphasized within the realm of Stoic philosophy. The idea that our free will is our greatest power forms a fundamental basis for finding contentment. Making the right choices and decisions often leads us to experience personal growth and true happiness. Stoic philosophy indicates that our free will gives us the opportunity to choose our reactions to various situations and events that occur in our daily lives. This is crucial because we cannot control events around us, but we have complete control over how we respond to them. A great part of exercising free will lies within accepting responsibility for our actions and decisions. It means acknowledging that we are not just subjects of our circumstances, rather we are creators of our future. We must learn to utilize this power we possess by making choices that line up with virtue, as this is the path to finding genuine happiness according to Stoic teachings. Additionally, free will allows us the ability to adapt and grow from the various challenges and obstacles life throws our way. These obstacles do not need to be viewed as setbacks, but can rather be seen as catalysts for growth and self-improvement. Practicing free will within our lives does not mean we act impulsively or recklessly. Instead, it means making reasoned actions and choices, ones that promote growth and foster deep-seated contentment. In essence, your free will grants you the power to control your life narrative. It permits you to find happiness not based on external factors, but from within. Utilizing your free will to choose virtue over vice, growth over stagnation, and contentment over fleeting satisfaction is what unlocks true happiness, as per Stoic philosophy. So, there you have it, folks. 10 Stoic thoughts that have personally opened the door to genuine happiness for me. If this video resonated with you, do me a favor and hit that like button, and consider subscribing for more insightful content like this. Remember, it's all about controlling your reactions, embracing the natural ups and downs of life, and cherishing your personal virtue and free will. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.